The chamber was vast, circular, and cold. 7 pillars of light rose from the floor, each containing a representative of the elder species that ruled the galaxy. Do-Yeon Kim stood in the center, his black uniform bearing the simple emblem of Earth. Behind him, Hannah Park watched the proceedings with sharp eyes, her hand resting on a datapad that contained arguments. They would never get to use. The human delegation had arrived at Nexus Station 3 days ago, summoned by emergency order. No explanation was given, no chance to prepare a defense. Do-Yeon had spent 30 years building relationships with these species, learning their languages, understanding their cultures. He thought he had earned their respect. Now, looking at the cold expressions surrounding him, he realized how wrong he had been. Ambassador Velther spoke first. His species resembled serpents, with scales that shimmered green and gold under the chamber lights. His voice came out smooth, almost gentle, which made his words cut deeper. Do-Yeon Kim of Earth, you stand accused of violating the Treaty of Controlled Expansion. Your species has established 17 unauthorized colonies in disputed territory. You have built military outposts beyond your designated zones. You have refused multiple orders to cease these activities. Do-Yeon kept his voice steady. We requested expansion rights 42 times over the past decade. Each request was denied. Our population grows faster than most species here. We need space to live, resources to survive. The territories we settled were unclaimed wastelands that no one wanted. High Magistrate Orin's form flickered in her pillar of light. She was crystalline, ancient, her thoughts transmitted through harmonic frequencies, translated into speech. Unclaimed because they are dangerous. Unstable star systems. Asteroid fields. Radiation zones. You settle places that would kill most species within days. We adapt, Do-Yeon said. We build. We survive. That is what humans do. That is what concerns us. This came from Counselor Thexara, whose insectoid mandibles clicked between words. Your species arrived in council space 30 years ago with barely functional faster-than-light drives. Now you build ships that rival our own. You develop weapons we have banned for centuries. You breed at rates that alarm every species here. In 3 generations, humans could outnumber the Talvian Consortium. In 5, you could dominate the Council through sheer numbers. Hannah Park stepped forward, unable to stay silent. You fear us because we succeed, because we refuse to stagnate. Every innovation we make, you call dangerous. Every colony we build, you call illegal. You want us to stay small, weak, and dependent on your approval for everything we do. Velther's eyes narrowed. We want you to follow the laws that have kept peace in this galaxy for 3,000 years. Laws that prevent any single species from becoming a threat to all others. We are not a threat, Do-Yeon said. We came to you in friendship. We shared our technology, our culture, our art. We fought alongside council fleets against pirates. We opened trade with dozens of worlds. How have we threatened anyone? Orin's harmonics took on a sad tone. You do not understand. We have seen species like yours before. Species that grow too fast, want too much, push too hard. They always bring chaos. They always bring war. Sometimes intentionally, often accidentally, but the result is the same. Billions die. Civilizations fall. We learned our lessons long ago. We will not repeat those mistakes. The chamber fell silent. Do-Yeon felt the weight of what was coming before the words were spoken. He had seen this in their body language, in the way they refused to meet his eyes, in the finality of their tone. The Galactic Council has voted, Velther announced. The vote was unanimous. Humanity is hereby exiled from Council space. All human vessels, stations, and personnel must withdraw within 1 solar cycle. All trade agreements are terminated. All diplomatic relations are severed. You will be provided with coordinates to 3 systems on the galactic rim. These are your designated territories. You will not expand beyond them. You will not contact Council species. This exile will remain in effect until such time as the Council determines humanity has learned restraint. Doyen's hands clenched into fists. You are condemning millions of people to death. Those systems are barren. No habitable planets. No resources. No trade routes. You might as well execute us here. We are giving you a chance to survive, Orin said. That is more mercy than we have shown other species in your position. Accept this judgment with grace, and perhaps in a century or 2 we may reconsider. A century? Hannah's voice was cold with fury. You think we will beg for your approval for 100 years while our people suffer in exile? We think you will learn your place in the order of things, Vexara replied. Or you will die. Either outcome is acceptable. Doyen looked at each of the council members in turn. He memorized their faces, their voices, the casual cruelty in their words. When he spoke again, his voice was quiet but clear. You make a mistake today. Not because we will seek revenge. Not because we will come back with weapons and rage. But because you do not understand what you are creating. You think exile will break us. You think isolation will teach us humility. You are wrong. Bold words from a species with nowhere to go, Valther said with a hint of amusement. We came to you with open hands, Doyen continued. We asked for partnership. You gave us fear and rejection. Fine. We will leave your council space. We will take our people to the rim of the galaxy. We will build our homes in the places you think are too dangerous for life. And we will do it without your help, without your guidance, without your permission. He stepped closer to the edge of his platform. But remember this moment. Remember that you had a choice. Remember that you chose fear over friendship. Because the next time we meet, things will be different. Hana transmitted the coordinates to all human vessels in Council space. 3 systems, cold and distant, marked on maps as uninhabitable. She looked at the data and smiled grimly. They gave us wasteland, she whispered to Doyen as they left the chamber. They gave us freedom, he replied. The exodus began within hours. Thousands of human ships, from massive colony vessels to small family transports, gathered at designated jump points. The Council sent monitors to ensure compliance, watching with sensors and scans as humanity departed. Some Council species felt relief. Others felt guilt. A few felt a strange unease, as if they had just made a terrible mistake, but could not quite understand why. Doyen stood on the bridge of the colony, ship new beginning, watching Council space shrink in the rear displays. Hana stood beside him, already pulling up survey data on their new home systems. The crew worked in focused silence, nobody speaking the fear they all felt. They were heading into the unknown, into systems so hostile that even the desperate avoided them. What do we do now? Hana asked quietly. Doyen pulled up a display showing the 3 barren systems. Asteroid fields, gas giants, dead rocks orbiting unstable stars. Everything the Council thought would break them. Now, he said, we show them what humans can really do when they stop asking for permission. The ships engaged their drives and leaped into the void, leaving behind the only home they had known among the stars. Behind them, the Council congratulated themselves on handling a difficult problem. Ahead of them, in the darkness of the galactic rim, humanity's true story was about to begin. 50 years passed in silence. The Galactic Council heard nothing from humanity. Not a single distress signal. Not one request for aid or trade. No diplomatic messages, no emergency broadcasts, nothing. It was as if 8 billion humans had simply vanished into the void. Some Council members felt relieved. Others grew curious. A few began to worry. Velther, now elderly and moving slower than in his youth, brought the matter up during a routine session. We should send a probe to the designated human zones. Verify their status. It has been half a century. Surely they would have reached out by now if they survived. Orin's crystalline form pulsed with uncertainty. Our attempts to scan those systems encounter strange interference. Not natural phenomena. Something artificial. Every probe we send loses contact the moment it crosses into their territory. Which means they are alive, Thexara said. And they do not want us watching them. Or they are barely surviving and lack the resources to communicate, another counselor suggested. We should verify before making assumptions. Leave them be, Velther decided. If they want contact, they know how to reach us. Until then, we honor the exile. While the council debated, humanity had transformed itself completely. Ji-Wan Lee stood at the observation deck of New Sol, looking out at what had once been an empty system. The barren red dwarf star that the council had marked as uninhabitable now hosted the largest artificial structure humanity had ever built. New Sol was not a planet. It was a massive rotating habitat built from the asteroids that once drifted uselessly through the system. 30 million people lived here now, in cities that curved along the inner surface of the cylinder, held in place by spin gravity. The third ring is complete, Taiyang Choi reported, walking up beside her with a datapad showing construction schematics. We will be able to expand to 40 million within 5 years. Taiyang had pioneered the techniques that made New Sol possible. His team had discovered how to process asteroid material into building components using nanomachine fabricators. They could take raw rock and ice and transform it into hull plating, atmospheric processors, and living spaces. The Council had given humanity nothing, so humanity learned to make everything from nothing. How are the other colonies progressing? Ji-Wan asked. New Bizin is ahead of schedule. The hydrogen extraction from the gas giant is exceeding projections. New Daegu just completed their shipyard. They will be producing civilian transports within the month. Taiyang smiled. We have 15 major habitats now, across all 3 systems. Total population approaching 100 million. Ji-Wan nodded, impressed but not satisfied. Still not enough. We need more growth, more infrastructure. The Council thought these systems would kill us. Instead, we have more freedom than any human colony under their watch ever had. Speaking of the Council, Taiyang said carefully, Mina wants to brief you on the research developments. Mina Song ran the most secret project in human space. Her laboratories were hidden inside asteroids, shielded from any outside detection. When the Council had governed human technology, there were lists of banned research. Artificial intelligence beyond a certain complexity. Quantum computing applications. Directed energy weapons. Nanomachine swarms. Genetic modifications. The Council called these things too dangerous. They said such technology had destroyed civilizations before. Humanity disagreed. Humanity, cut off from Council oversight, pursued every banned technology with careful determination. Show me, Ji-Wan said. They took a secure transport to Research Station Prometheus, hidden in the debris field of a shattered moon. Inside, Mina waited for them in a laboratory that would have terrified Council observers. Holographic displays showed complex equations. Machines hummed with barely contained power. In containment fields, nanomachines assembled and disassembled matter at molecular levels. We have achieved breakthrough after breakthrough, Mina said without preamble. She was not one for small talk. First, quantum fold drives. Our new design is 3 times faster than Council FTL. More efficient, more stable, and capable of jumps the Council would consider impossible. Second, artificial gravity generators that do not require spin. We can build ships and stations in any configuration now. Third, our AI integration has reached levels the Council banned decades ago. Our computers can predict, adapt, and coordinate across entire fleets with no lag. She pulled up another display. But this is the most important. We call it void shielding. The display showed a ship surrounded by a field of bent space. It is not true invisibility, Mina explained, but it distorts sensor readings so completely that most detection methods will miss us entirely. A ship with void shielding appears as nothing more than background radiation. To Council sensors, which have not advanced in centuries, we would be ghosts. Ji-Wan stared at the display. This changes everything. It gets better, Mina said with a rare smile. The shielding works on weapons too. We can fire projectiles that do not appear on sensors until impact. No warning. No time to defend. Are we building weapons? Ji-Wan asked quietly. Mina nodded toward a viewport. Outside, Ji-Wan could see them. Ships unlike anything the Council had ever designed. Sleek, angular vessels that looked like they were made for hunting. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, drifting in formation around the research station. Haiyan has been busy, Mina said. Haiyan Kong was humanity's military commander, a title that officially did not exist. When the Exodus began, human leadership decided that they would never be powerless again. Never again would they stand before the Council without the means to defend themselves. Haiyan was given unlimited resources and a simple order: make sure humanity survives. Ji-Wan met with Haiyan in the command center of the defense station he called the Watchtower. Maps covered the walls, showing the 3 human systems and the space beyond. Red markers indicated Council patrol routes. Blue markers showed human scout positions. We have been watching them, Haiyan said, learning their patterns, their weaknesses, their technology. The Council has not advanced in 50 years. They rely on the same ships, same weapons, same tactics they used a century ago. They have grown comfortable in their power, while we have been adapting, Ji-Wan said. Exactly. Our combat doctrine is built around speed, stealth, and precision. We do not have their numbers, so we developed superiority in quality. One of our frigates could engage 3 Council destroyers and win. Our pilots train in environments the Council would consider too dangerous. Zero-gravity combat, debris field navigation, quantum jump ambush tactics. He pulled up a display showing a sleek warship. This is the Shadow class. Fast attack vessel. Void shielding. Quantum drives. AI-assisted targeting. Kinetic weapons that leave no energy signature. We have built 30 of them so far. You are preparing for war, Ji-Wan said. It was not a question. I am preparing for survival, Haiyan replied. The Council exiled us because they feared what we might become. I intend to make sure their fear was justified. Not because we want war, but because we will never let anyone exile us again. Ji-Wan looked at the displays, at the weapons and ships and soldiers training for battles that might never come. She thought about the Council, sitting in their chambers, believing humanity was broken or dead. She thought about Doyan's last words to them. She smiled. Keep building, she said, but quietly. Let them think we are struggling. Let them believe the exile worked. When the time is right, we will show them what 50 years of freedom has created. Months later, a Council probe finally managed to penetrate the edge of human space before losing contact. The brief data it transmitted showed structures, energy signatures, and ship movements. The Council analysts studied the information with confusion. The numbers did not make sense. The technology readings seemed impossible. They assumed the probe had malfunctioned. Deep in the Watchtower, Haiyan watched the Council probe data with satisfaction. The probe had seen exactly what he wanted it to see. Nothing more, nothing less. The Council still believed they understood humanity. That mistake, Hyen knew, would cost them dearly when the time came. In New Seoul, Ji-won Lee addressed a gathering of colony administrators through quantum-linked communication. "We have survived the impossible," she told them. "We have built an empire from nothing. We have turned exile into opportunity. The Council gave us wasteland, and we made paradise. They tried to limit us, and we exceeded every limit. They wanted us to learn our place. Instead, we learned that there are no limits to what humans can achieve when we are free to try." The administrators cheered. Across human space, millions of people who had been born in exile, who knew nothing of the Council except stories, continued building, learning, growing. They were creating something new, something the galaxy had never seen before, something that would soon make itself known. The first reports seemed insignificant. A merchant vessel traveling through the outer rim reported a strange encounter. The ship had experienced a brief power fluctuation, and when systems came back online, 6 hours had passed. The crew remembered nothing. Their cargo was untouched, but their navigation logs showed impossible readings. Ships that appeared and vanished like ghosts. The merchant captain filed a report with the local council office, expecting dismissal. Instead, the officer frowned and pulled up similar reports. Dozens of them, scattered across the frontier sectors. Always the same pattern. Lost time, strange ships. No damage, no theft, just confusion. Then came stranger news. A pirate base that had operated for 20 years in an asteroid field suddenly went dark. Council patrol ships arrived to find the base intact but empty. All weapons were disabled. All data cores were wiped. The pirates were found bound and unconscious in their own cells, with no memory of what happened. Security footage showed nothing but static. Whoever had done this moved like shadows. Velther called an emergency council session when the reports could no longer be ignored. "Something is operating in frontier space," he said. "Something with technology we cannot track. Ships that appear on sensors for seconds before vanishing. Precision strikes against criminal operations. No casualties, but complete effectiveness." "Pirates have enemies," Exara said dismissively. "Perhaps rival gangs." "These are not gang attacks," a military coordinator reported. "The precision is too perfect. The technology too advanced. And there is something else." She displayed an image captured by a surviving camera on one of the raided pirate bases. The image was grainy, distorted, but clear enough to show a ship's hull. On it was a symbol, a rising sun behind a shield. "Does anyone recognize this emblem?" Velther asked. Silence filled the chamber. Then Orin's harmonics took on an uncertain tone. "Run a historical comparison. Check all species databases." The results came back within minutes. The rising sun was an ancient human symbol, but the configuration, the style, was nothing in their records. This was something new. "Contact the human exile zones," Velther ordered. Immediately. The communication was transmitted to all 3 designated human systems. For 3 days, there was no response. The council waited, confusion growing into concern. On the 4th day, they received a reply. Not from the systems they knew, but from a location they could not trace. A holographic figure appeared before the council. He was human, young, dressed in a black uniform with the rising sun emblem on his chest. His expression was calm, professional, and utterly confident. "My name is Jiho Nam," he said. "I represent the Silent Empire. I understand you have questions." "The Silent Empire?" Velther repeated. "We exiled humanity 50 years ago. You were sent to 3 systems on the rim. What is this empire you speak of?" "The empire you created," Jiho replied smoothly, "when you exiled us. when you gave us 3 barren systems and told us to survive or die. We chose survival. We also chose to thrive. How many systems do you control? Orin asked, her harmonics sharp with concern. 17, Jiho said casually. All in unclaimed space beyond your borders. We have not violated any council territory. We have not broken any treaties. We simply expanded into the vast emptiness you ignore. Exara's mandibles clicked rapidly. Impossible. We would have detected such expansion. Our scouts monitor all frontier space. Jiho smiled slightly. Do they? Commander Sunayun sends her regards, by the way. She says your scouts are quite predictable. Easy to avoid. You have been spying on us, Belther accused. We have been watching you, Jiho corrected. Learning your patterns. Understanding your weaknesses. You taught us a valuable lesson 50 years ago. Never trust those who have exiled you. So we watched, we learned, and we prepared. Prepared for what? Orin demanded. For this conversation, Jiho said. We are ready to discuss normalized relations, trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, recognition of our sovereignty. But this time, it will be on our terms, not yours. The council members looked at each other in shock. This was not how they expected this conversation to go. A species they had exiled, powerless and desperate, was now dictating terms to them. You cannot simply demand recognition, Exara said. You must follow proper procedures. Submit applications. Undergo review. Prove your civilization meets our standards. Your standards, Jiho repeated. The same standards you used to exile us? The same review that found us too dangerous, too unpredictable, too fast-growing? No, we will not beg for your approval again. We offer partnership as equals. If you refuse, we will continue building our empire without you. You need council trade routes, Belther said. Access to markets. Advanced resources. You cannot survive isolated forever. We have survived 50 years in systems you deemed uninhabitable, Jiho replied. We have built habitats from asteroids. We extract hydrogen from gas giants. We synthesize resources at molecular levels. We do not need you, but we are willing to work with you. That is generosity you should not take for granted. As the council scrambled to respond, events in frontier space continued to unfold. A slave trading operation that spanned 3 star systems was systematically dismantled over the course of a single week. The slavers found themselves outmatched by forces they never saw coming. Ships appeared from nowhere, disabled their vessels, freed their captives, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. The freed slaves were left with supplies, coordinates to safe worlds, and a message. The Silent Empire does not tolerate slavery. Council merchant ships began reporting encounters with human vessels. Unlike the brief glimpses before, these ships now remained visible long enough to be observed. They were beautiful in a deadly way. Sleek hulls with angular designs that suggested both speed and power. When hailed, they responded politely but revealed nothing. Safe travels, they would say, then vanish into quantum space with drives faster than anything the Council possessed. Rumors spread quickly. Species on the frontier began speaking of the Silent Empire with a mix of fear and admiration. Pirates avoided certain sectors entirely, knowing that mysterious human ships patrolled those areas. Merchants found that their goods moved safer through routes the Silent Empire monitored. Some worlds even requested human presence, hoping the protection would extend to them. In her command center, aboard the dreadnought Nightfall, Sunayun monitored council space with cold precision. Around her ship, 29 more dreadnoughts floated in formation, all equipped with void shielding that rendered them invisible to council sensors. The Shadow Fleet, as it had become known, was humanity's ultimate weapon. Each ship carried enough firepower to engage multiple Council warships simultaneously. Their crews trained constantly, running simulations and exercises that pushed both technology and skill to their limits. Council Patrol Group detected. Her tactical officer reported. 3 destroyers, standard formation, predictable route. Mark their position and move our formation 5 degrees, Suna ordered. Keep us out of their search pattern. No reason to reveal ourselves yet. The Shadow Fleet adjusted position with perfect coordination, quantum-linked AI, allowing 30 ships to move as one. The Council destroyers passed within 100,000 kilometers, their sensors detecting nothing but empty space. They never knew that the most powerful human warships ever built had been watching them the entire time. Back in the Council chambers, Velther tried one more time to regain control of the situation. "Ji-Ho Nam," he said to the holographic figure still projected before them. "You speak of partnership, but you hide in shadows. You avoid direct communication. How can we trust a species that operates through deception?" "We learned from masters," Ji-Ho replied. "You hid the truth of our exile behind words like restraint and order. You called our desperation illegal. You made us seem like the threat when you were the ones who feared progress. We simply adapted to the reality you created." He leaned forward slightly, his expression hardening. "Here is what we offer. One time, no negotiations. The Silent Empire will open trade with any Council species that wishes it. We will share certain technologies that will benefit all. We will patrol frontier space and maintain order in regions you cannot or will not protect. In exchange, you will recognize our sovereignty over our 17 systems. You will not attempt to regulate our internal affairs. You will treat us as equal partners, not as subjects to be managed. And if we refuse?" Orin asked. "Then we continue as we are," Ji-Ho said simply. "Building our empire, expanding into unclaimed space, protecting those who ask for protection. Eventually, species will choose to work with us instead of you. Not because we force them, but because we offer something you do not. Freedom to grow without fear of exile." The holographic projection ended. The Council sat in stunned silence. In 50 years, they had gone from masters of the galaxy to politicians, scrambling to respond to an empire they did not understand. An empire built by the species they had tried to break. In a private chamber, Velther met with the oldest Council members. "We have a decision to make," he said quietly. "Accept their terms and acknowledge that humanity has become a power beyond our control, or refuse and risk them becoming a rival that draws species away from the Council." "They are bluffing," Bexara insisted. 17 systems, maybe 100 million population. They cannot challenge us." But the others were not so certain. They had seen the reports, the technology, the precision, the confidence in every action the Silent Empire took. This was not a desperate species begging for acceptance. This was a power that had emerged from exile stronger than anyone could have imagined. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the Shadow Fleet waited. The Council fractured within weeks of Ji-Ho Nam's ultimatum. 3 factions emerged, each with different views on how to handle humanity's unexpected return. Orin led the moderates, those who believed the exile had been a mistake, and that accepting the Silent Empire as equals was the only logical path forward. They pointed to the technological advancements, the organized expansion, and the clear military capabilities humanity now possessed. Fighting them would be foolish. The second faction wanted to maintain the exile, pretending the Silent Empire did not exist. They argued that acknowledging humanity would set a dangerous precedent. If one exiled species could return as an empire, others might try the same. Better to ignore the humans and hope the problem resolved itself. The third faction, led by the Xara, believed in suppression. Humanity had violated the spirit of the exile by expanding beyond their designated systems. They had developed banned technologies. They operated in shadows and refused proper council oversight. This could not stand. Military action was necessary to remind humanity of their place in the galactic order. Vexara worked in secret, building support among the military coordinators. "We cannot appear weak," he told them in private meetings. "If we allow this, every species in the galaxy will question our authority. We must act decisively. What do you propose?" A coordinator asked. "A demonstration of power. Find one of their outposts, the smallest one. Strike it with overwhelming force. Show them that their technology, however advanced, cannot stand against council might. Force them back to their designated systems. Reinforce the exile. The council has not authorized military action. The council does not need to know until it is done," Vexara said coldly. "By the time they learn of it, humanity will be retreating, and we will be heroes for protecting galactic order." He assembled a strike force in secret. 20 destroyers, 5 cruisers, 2 battleships. Enough firepower to overwhelm any outpost. They identified a silent empire facility on the edge of human-controlled space. A mining station orbiting a dead planet. It appeared lightly defended. Perfect for a demonstration. The fleet moved into position over 2 weeks, gathering at a staging point just outside human territory. Vexara gave the order to attack. 27 warships jumped into the target system with weapons charged and shields active. They expected surprise. They expected an easy victory. Instead, they found Yunji Han waiting for them. The Admiral of the Void Guard stood on the bridge of her flagship. The Undaunted, watching the Council fleet emerge from quantum space. Around her ship, 15 destroyers and 5 cruisers materialized from void shielding, appearing on Council sensors like ghosts becoming solid. The enemy fleet suddenly found themselves surrounded. Council vessels. Yunji transmitted on all frequencies, her voice calm and professional. "You have entered Silent Empire territory with weapons armed. This is an act of war. Power down your weapons and withdraw immediately, or we will interpret your presence as hostile intent." On the bridge of Vexara's flagship, chaos erupted. How did they know we were coming? An officer shouted. "How are they already here?" "Sensors show 20 human ships," the tactical officer reported, his voice shaking. "But the readings are unstable. They might have more we cannot detect." Vexara's mandibles clicked rapidly. "We outnumber them. All ships, open fire. Destroy the human vessels." What followed was not a battle. It was a lesson. The Council ships opened fire with their plasma cannons and missile batteries, weapons that had dominated galactic warfare for centuries. The human ships simply were not there when the weapons arrived. Quantum drives allowed micro-jumps, appearing and vanishing across the battlefield in patterns the Council fleet could not predict. Human weapons, kinetic accelerators firing projectiles at relativistic speeds, struck with precision that seemed impossible. No energy signatures to warn of attack. No time to raise shields. Just impact and damage. Council shields, designed to stop energy weapons, proved ineffective against solid projectiles moving at significant fractions of light speed. Hull plating crumpled. Systems failed. Ships went dark one after another. Yunji Han watched her tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Target weapons and propulsion only," she ordered. "No casualties if possible. We are here to teach, not to slaughter." The battle lasted 18 minutes. Not a single human ship was lost. Not a single human crew member was injured. Of the 27 Council ships, 23 were disabled, their weapons destroyed, their drives offline. The remaining 4 retreated in panic, jumping away with damaged systems and terrified crews. Yunji ordered rescue operations immediately. Human ships approached the disabled Council vessels, transported medical teams aboard, and provided emergency life support. The Council crews, expecting execution, found themselves receiving aid from the people they had tried to kill. "Why are you helping us?" a Council officer asked as human medics treated his injuries. "Because we remember mercy," the human medic replied, "even when others forget it." When the rescue operations were complete, Yunji transmitted a message to every disabled ship. "Your crews will be returned to Council space unharmed. Your ships will be towed to the border and released. Carry this message to your leaders. We remember mercy. Do not make us forget." News of the disaster reached the Council within hours. Vexara tried to hide his involvement, but Siraim had ensured every detail was documented. She was a silent Empire intelligence operative who had been operating in Council space for months, building a network of sources and gathering information. When Vexara began planning his secret attack, she knew about it before he gave the order. She released all the evidence to the moderate faction. Communication logs, movement orders, authorization codes that showed Vexara had acted without Council approval. The scandal destroyed his political career. More importantly, it split the Council further. Those who wanted war realized the cost would be catastrophic. Those who wanted to ignore humanity understood that was no longer possible. Jiho Nam appeared before the Council again, his holographic form projecting confidence and controlled anger. "You authorized an attack on our territory. You brought warships against a mining station. You attempted to kill our people. We defeated you easily. We could have destroyed your fleet. We could have followed them home and continued the attack. We did not. We showed mercy. We healed your wounded. We returned your people." He leaned forward. "But do not mistake mercy for weakness. You attacked once without consequence. There will not be a second chance. The next force you send against us will not return at all." Before the Council could respond, another crisis emerged. Reports flooded in from the frontier. Strange ships had been detected crossing the galactic barrier. Ships that moved in swarms, thousands of them, with technology unlike anything in Council records. They attacked a frontier colony without warning, overwhelming defenses within hours. The colony sent a desperate distress call before going silent. "The Vorthic swarm," Orin said, her harmonics filled with horror. "We detected them at the barrier 6 months ago, but thought we had more time. What is the Vorthic swarm?" Jiho asked, still connected to the Council transmission. "An extragalactic threat," Velther explained reluctantly. "A hive mind species that consumes resources from worlds they conquer. They adapt to whatever resistance they face. We have fought them twice before in our history. Both times, billions died. Council military forces scrambled to respond. Fleets that had not fought a real war in decades suddenly faced an enemy that showed no mercy and no fear. The first engagement was a disaster. Council tactics relied on formation warfare and energy weapons. The swarm attacked in chaotic patterns with bioships that absorbed energy and converted it to fuel. Council ships designed for display and patrol found themselves outmatched by an enemy evolved for conquest. System after system fell. The swarm pushed deeper into Council space, unstoppable, adaptable, consuming everything in their path. Millions of civilians evacuated ahead of the invasion. Entire fleets vanished trying to slow the advance dot in a private chamber. Orin met with Velther and the few remaining moderate Council members. "We are losing," she said simply. "Our technology is outdated. Our tactics are predictable. At this rate, the swarm will reach core Council worlds within a year." "We need allies," Velther said quietly. "We need help from those who have advanced beyond us." "You mean humanity. The Silent Empire has technology we do not understand." ships we cannot detect, weapons that ignore our best defenses. If they could defeat our fleet so easily, perhaps they can fight the swarm. And what do we offer them? Another member asked. Why would they help the species that exiled them? We tried to destroy them just weeks ago. Orin's form pulsed with determination. We offer them what we should have given 50 years ago. Respect, recognition, a true place at the table. Not as subjects to be managed, but as equals to be partnered with. And if they refuse, then we all die together. The swarm does not care about politics or pride. It will consume the silent empire after it consumes us. Our only hope is to face this threat united. The message was sent through the same channel Jihonam had used. A formal request for military assistance against the Vorthix swarm. An acknowledgement that the Council could not win alone. An offer to discuss terms of alliance. The response came within an hour. Jihonam appeared again, but this time his expression was serious, calculating. We are aware of the swarm. We have been monitoring their advance. We understand the threat they pose. The Silent Empire is willing to provide military assistance against this common enemy. But our aid comes with conditions. Name them, Velther said, his pride finally broken by desperation. First, the exile is formally rescinded. All records stating humanity was exiled are deleted. Second, the Silent Empire is granted full council membership with equal voting rights. Third, all species must sign a new agreement. The Accords of Sovereign Space. No species can be exiled for technological development. No species can be suppressed for growing too fast or too strong. Freedom to advance without fear. Those are our terms. The council members looked at each other. It was everything they had tried to prevent. Everything they had feared. But the alternative was extinction. Agreed, Orin said. Help us survive, and we will welcome you as true equals. Jiho smiled slightly. Admiral Han will arrive in your space within 3 days with the Void Guard. Prepare your fleets to coordinate with ours. This will be different from any battle you have fought before. The transmission ended. In the darkness of space, 30 dreadnoughts began their journey toward Council space, ready to face the swarm, ready to prove that humanity had not just survived exile. They had evolved beyond it. The Silent Empire fleet entered, Council space like a storm moving through empty sky. Yoon Han stood on the bridge of the Undaunted, watching as 300 warships emerged from quantum space in perfect formation. Behind her flagship came the full military might of humanity. Dreadnoughts, cruisers, destroyers, carriers, and support vessels. Each ship equipped with technology 50 years more advanced than anything the Council possessed. Each crew trained for combat in environments that would kill most species. Council fleet detected ahead, her tactical officer reported. They are attempting to match our formation. 15 human ships vanished from the battle line and appeared 3 seconds later in the center of the swarm formation. The bioships barely had time to react before kinetic weapons tore through them, creating a corridor of destruction. Minge's ships moved with perfect synchronization, quantum-linked AI allowing them to act as a single organism. They jumped in, struck, jumped out, and reappeared at a different angle before the swarm could adapt. The main Council fleet opened fire, energy weapons blazing across space. The swarm turned to engage them, exactly as planned. While thousands of bioships focused on the obvious threat, human strike groups continued their assault from unexpected vectors. The swarm is adapting, Minge's tactical officer reported. They are spreading out, trying to predict our jump points. Switch to randomized insertion protocols, Minge ordered. No patterns. Keep them guessing. The battle became a dance of quantum physics and calculated violence. Human ships appeared and vanished across the battlefield like ghosts, each strike precisely targeted to maximize damage and confusion. Council ships held the line, their shields absorbing punishment while human vessels did the surgical work. But the swarm was learning. Bioships began clustering around probable jump points. They started using energy absorption fields that could drain void shields. They evolved new weapons that could track ships mid-jump. They are adapting faster than predicted, Yunji observed. All strike groups accelerate the timeline. We need that device deployed now. Minjae pushed his ships harder, jumping deeper into the swarm formation. His vessel took hits, hull plating cracking under bioweapon impacts. 20 seconds to deployment point, he called out. All ships form up on Dawn's edge. We are going straight through. The strike group jumped as one directly into the heart of the swarm, appearing less than 10 kilometers from the threshold rift. Around them, bioships swarmed like insects protecting a hive. Weapons fire filled space. Shields flared and died. But Minja's crew had trained for this moment. Deploy the device, he ordered. A specialist activated the rift collapse mechanism, a piece of technology that Minasong's research teams had developed specifically for this battle. It was based on quantum physics that the Council barely understood, using principles humanity had discovered in their 50 years of unrestricted research. The device activated, sending waves of exotic particles into the dimensional rift. The threshold began to destabilize, its edges flickering and contracting. It is working, Yunji reported from the Undaunted. All ships fall back. The rift is collapsing. Strike Group 1. Jump out, Minjae ordered. Now, 14 ships vanished, jumping to safety. Dawn's Edge hesitated for 3 seconds, making sure the device remained stable. In those 3 seconds, 500 bioships converged on Minjae's position. Weapons fire overwhelmed his shields. His hull breached in a dozen places. Dawn's Edge is taking heavy damage, his tactical officer shouted. Jump drive is offline. We are trapped. Minjae looked at the display showing the collapsing rift, then at his crew. Young faces, frightened but determined. He activated the ship-wide communication. This is the captain. It has been an honor serving with you. Our mission is complete. The rift will close. The swarm will be cut off. Today, we save billions of lives. Jump drive coming back online, engineering reported. 30 seconds. But the rift was closing faster. Bioships swarmed closer. 20 seconds. 10 seconds dot, then Yunji Han's voice cut through the chaos. Dawn's Edge, activate your emergency beacon. All ships, prepare for emergency extraction. The Undaunted and 10 other dreadnoughts appeared in quantum space around Minjae's crippled vessel. Their combined void shields extended to cover the smaller ship. Tractor beams locked on. Hold on, Captain, Yunji said. We are getting you out. The massive ships jumped as one, pulling the Dawn's Edge with them. They emerged in safe space just as the threshold collapsed completely. The dimensional rift sealed itself, trapping most of the swarm on the other side. The bioships remaining in their galaxy suddenly lost coordination as the hive mind connection was severed. Without the unified intelligence guiding them, the swarm ships became confused, erratic. Council and human forces tore through them systematically. What had been an unstoppable invasion became a cleanup operation. The battle ended 3 hours later. Not a single swarm ship escaped in the aftermath. The combined fleet gathered at a staging area to assess damage and casualties. Human losses were minimal. 23 ships damaged, 7 destroyed. 400 lives lost. Council losses were higher, but far better than their previous engagements. The integration of human tactics had saved thousands. On the bridge of the Undaunted, Yunji received a communication from the council chambers. Orin's holographic form appeared, her harmonics filled with gratitude and respect. Admiral Han, On behalf of the Galactic Council, we thank you. Your strategy saved us. Your technology made victory possible. Your people fought with courage and skill we had not imagined. We fought together, Yunji replied. As it should be. There is someone who wishes to speak with you. The hologram changed, showing an elderly human man in a simple gray suit. Doyun Kim, now 97 years old, had been brought out of retirement to witness this moment. He smiled at Yunji with pride in his eyes. You did well, Admiral. Better than I could have hoped. We remembered your words, Yunji said, when you stood before the Council 50 years ago. You told them exile would not break us. You were right. A formal ceremony was held on Nexus Station 1 week later. The same chamber where humanity had been exiled now hosted their return. But this time, Jihonam did not appear as a hologram. He stood physically in the center of the chamber, surrounded by the council members who had once cast his people out. Velthar, now ancient and moving slowly, approached Jiho. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I formally apologize for the exile imposed on your species 50 years ago. It was done out of fear, not wisdom. We were wrong. The exile is officially rescinded. Humanity is welcome, not just to return, but to join us as full equals. We accept your apology, Jiho said. Not because we need it, but because it represents growth. You learned. That is all we can ask. Orin stepped forward. The Accords of Sovereign Space have been signed by all Council species. No species will be exiled for technological advancement. No species will be suppressed for growing strong. We have learned our lesson. Doyan Kim, standing beside Jiho, raised his voice one last time before the Council. 50 years ago, you sent us away because you feared what we might become. You gave us 3 barren systems and expected us to fail. Instead, we built 17 thriving worlds. We developed technology you thought impossible. We became the power you feared. But we also became something more. We became the allies you needed when true danger arrived. He looked at each council member in turn. We have long memories. We remember the exile. We remember being told we were too dangerous to exist among you. But we also remember that when you needed help, we came anyway. Because that is what humans do. We adapt. We survive. We protect. Even those who wronged us. Velthar bowed his head. We will not forget this lesson. Or this mercy. The ceremony ended with the formal signing of humanity into the Council. Not as junior members or species to be watched. As equals, as partners. As the people who had saved the galaxy when no one else could. Later, on the observation deck of New Sol, Jiwan Li stood with Taeyang Choi, watching human ships pass by in formation. Some were heading back to Silent Empire space. Others were taking up patrol positions around Council worlds. Humanity was no longer in exile. They were protectors now, guardians of a galaxy that had tried to cast them out. Do you think they will remember? Taeyang asked. A century from now, will they remember that they exiled us? They will remember, Jiwan said, because we will remind them. Not with anger or bitterness, but with our presence. Every time they see a human ship, every time they use technology we developed, every time they are protected by forces we command, they will remember that they tried to limit us, and we exceeded every limit anyway. She smiled. The Council wanted to teach us restraint. Instead, they taught us what we are truly capable of when nothing holds us back. That was the greatest gift they could have given us. In the command center of the watchtower, Haiyan Kong watched the tactical displays showing human forces now integrated throughout Council space. The Shadow Fleet remained hidden, as always, but their presence was felt. The galaxy knew humanity had power. They just did not know the full extent of it, and that, Haiyan thought, was exactly how it should be. The silent empire had emerged from the shadows. But some shadows, some capabilities, some weapons would remain hidden. Just in case. Because humanity had learned the most important lesson of all, that trust is earned. Power is maintained. And exile, when survived, makes you stronger than those who imposed it. The galaxy would never forget the day the Council exiled humanity. But more importantly, they would never forget the day humanity saved them anyway.